Today's video is sponsored on Patreon by Alex Dykes. Alright, trying my hand at 1v1 again. Tatyova, the commander that kicked off this channel way back when, up against Halvar this time. And we've got all of our colours, so I will keep. Our opponent plays out a Sajiri Step. That is Nissa Vaswoodseer for us, so yeah, let's just go for the green and pass. Usually expect 1v1 games to be faster than this, and that is the first spell of the game in SRAM Senior Edificer. So that might be worth a Beast Within. We could go for Oko and turn that into a 3-3, but yeah, Oko's just going to die to that. Let's drop the island, and we'll go for Tireless Provisioner before the Nissa. Tireless Provisioner going to make a treasure token every time we make landfall. And it's probably better if we go Curse of the Swine onto both Halvar and SRAM, and then we can get at least a 2-for-1. Anyway, they drop themselves a Skeleton Key, which will cantrip thanks to the SRAM. Then going for a Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, so yeah, might be worth going for Curse of the Swine next turn if we can. We do need double blue in order to do that though. They grab themselves the Sword of Feast and Famine, which you would think would be pretty typical. Alright, 3 visits to get more blue mana. We can obviously make a treasure token with this as well, so let's drop a land, make a treasure token, and then we might as well go 3 visits as well and get ourselves a jewel. Triggering landfall again, and once again making a treasure with that. Now they're likely to just go for the Sword of Feast and Famine next turn, I would think, so I wonder if we're better to just go for the Tatyova here. Yeah, I think I'm going to play it safe and go for Curse of the Swine actually, so let's get rid of those two. Not getting rid of their commander with this unfortunately, but we do see the back of SRAM, which is obviously the cantrip spell, and then not going to be seeing the activated ability on Stoneforge, which can cheat in big scary equipment. So yeah, I think it's worth doing there. We can turn their commander into an elk with Oko, but we'll want to deal with the Sword of Feast and Famine before we try and do anything like that, because we want to try and keep Oko in play if we can. Don't suppose there's anything to stop us going for Beast Within on one of their lands either. Alright, they go for Arden this time, so they can put the Skeleton Key on something. Just putting that onto Arden. And then deciding against that, so not equipping the Skeleton Key for free. A land here would be really nice. Got 41 in the deck. That is a Burgeoning, which isn't of much use to us at the moment. Can we get removal out of their hand? Let's go for the Tatyova here. Seems as though we've slowed them down a little bit. Save that treasure token for when we're desperate for an additional mana. We can guarantee ourselves a land next turn with Nissa Vaswoodseer. Okay, they've got themselves a Tech Edge now. And Tech Edge is online. They'll have to pretty much take a turn off in order to make use of that though. Instead going after their Sword of Feast and Famine, so that may well go onto Arden. Beast Within onto the sword is probably a good idea. Alright, so throwing the Sword of Feast and Famine onto a boar token. And no double strike as of yet, so we'll just discard this useless Burgeoning. I don't think we're going to miss that this game. And then surprisingly getting down the Halvar after the fact, so yeah, the boar token could have hurt us there by getting rid of 2 spells from our hand. Instead we get to keep one. Alright, that's a forest, so what we can do here is set them up for trying to swing in with this at the Planeswalker, and then we blow this up in response, get rid of a creature hopefully during blocks. So yeah, let's go for Oko. And Oko can turn an artifact or creature into an elk, so we'll do that to their commander, and that hopefully sees the back of Halvar for the rest of the game. Then we'll drop a forest as well. That will draw us a card, lose us a life, or gain us a life even. And we'll make a treasure. Okay, now we're getting into multiple lands, so this is where we would have liked that Burgeoning. Yeah, can't make landfall again unfortunately, so we can't go for the Nissa. Can flip round the Nissa next turn though, which is relevant. Might be relevant having a 4-4 in play. So we'll leave it there. Noteworthy actually, I should have tapped down the Tropical Island because our opponent could get rid of it with Tech Edge here and force us to use a treasure when we don't necessarily want to. So yeah, I should have tapped down my non-basics so it doesn't hurt as much to lose them. Alright, now a Commander's Plate, so gonna have protection from everything except white, which could also be relevant. Got a couple of legendaries, obviously cheating things with Arden as well, cheating costs from equipments. And an Obsidian Battle Axe as well, so it'll be intriguing to see if they spread the equipments around here, or if they dump them all on one creature. So it's arguable that the thing to do here might be to go after the Arden with Beast Within, and then they don't get a bunch of free equips. Then this might swing in at Oko, but we can still plus it next turn. I think that's the thing to do here. So let's blow up Arden, and then we can always get rid of the sword by turning it into an elk with Oko. I suppose they can always try and go wide on us here as well, trying to trade their commander for ours, but they'll be tempted to swing in towards us with the boar as well, because the sword only triggers when they hit us. Yeah, so ignoring Oko entirely, and then the 2-2 goes in at Oko, so we'll just kill that off. The 3-3 can hit Oko, so we get rid of a boar for free here. Having to discard the command beacon, unfortunately, but luckily they don't have double strike. They do untap their lands here as well, of course. Only 4 of those, thankfully. That is a Mirren Crusader, so that has protection from green as well. I just took Bane of Progress out of this deck, and I wonder if it should still be in here. Alright, there's a Dig Through Time. We have... how many cards? 5 cards in the bin. So let's go for the Nissa first of all. Obviously going to grab a basic with Nissa and play that out straight away, get the triggers, including Nissa flipping round into a Planeswalker. Then we've got ourselves an E-Witness as well, so we could go Curse of the Swine. Yeah, that could be good. Let's go plussing on Oko. We'll get rid of the Sword of Feast and Famine. And then we can get rid of this with the Curse of the Swine, downgrade it into a 2-2. So it's E-Witness, grab back the Curse, and then we can only go 2 into X. So I think it might be exile this and the Mirren Crusader. Maybe we could try and get a land with this. Yeah, let's just... yeah, let's go for the minus on this, and then we've got a 4-4 in the way of their creatures. They can try and go wide, but we'll get rid of some if they try to do that. And then that means that we can only go for 2 into X still, unfortunately. But we'll get rid of that pesky Mirren Crusader. They're going to have protection from some colours anyway, thanks to the Commander's Plate, but I dare say that goes in on Oko. So definitely making use of the extra mana from the Tireless Provisioner. So just treading water here, getting rid of some really good stuff from my opponent. The only thing I'm really worried about now is the Commander's Plate. Hopefully we can deal with that at some point here. Still got Rex Sage and cards like that in the deck. That is Benevolent Bodyguard. Sacrifice it. Target creature has pro colour of your choice till the end of turn. Trailblazer's Boots will be good against us because we do have a non-basic even after sacrificing this. So definitely means of getting through to our life total and Planeswalkers. This will still be commander damage, so equipping that with the Trailblazer's Boots. We have got them down to 1 card in hand though, and they've got plenty of things to get rid of. Yep, going after the Oko as we thought they would. Already used our E-Witness, of course. It might be worth them sacrificing this in order to get through to the Nissa, although maybe they try to go wide here. Yep, sending a bunch of stuff in towards Nissa, trying to get us to block, so we get rid of their 3-3, get rid of a 2-2. Yeah, I'd like to keep the Tireless Provisioner, really. Losing Nissa doesn't feel good because it's card draw, but hopefully we can keep Tatyova in play for the card draw, and we do have Dig Through Time as well. The more permanents hit the bin, the cheaper that is. So round to our turn once again, we've got Tatyova. That is return an artifact creature, enchantment or planeswalker to the hand, and it will cost us 2 to do that thanks to Ashaya being a legendary creature. Let's go for this Dig Through Time. Exiling everything except the Oko, and luckily still have some blue mana available to us. Want to try and keep the Tatyova if I can, because we might want to bounce some protection spell. Some protection permanent, I mean. Finale of Devastation, not necessarily as useful after we've just exiled a bunch of stuff. Consecrated Sphinx is a good one. Yeah, I think we have to grab the Consecrated Sphinx to try and refill our hand. Let's go for the Scavenger Grounds as landfall for the turn. So we drop the Scavenger Grounds. That will draw us a card and make a treasure. And that's a Thought Vessel, so we can go for the Thought Vessel and still go for the Blighted Woodland, which is what I'm thinking of doing here. Yeah, we'll hold up the Atawara or Otawara just in case, but I'm thinking we just crack the Blighted Woodland and fix our colours properly. So not going to be blocking with the Tireless Provisioner. We'll get some commander damage on our opponent as well, because I doubt they're going to block with that 1-1. Do have Finale of Devastation on the bottom now in case we wanted to grab back E-Witness, but we are going to shuffle it around again with the Blighted Woodland in a minute. So now equipping the Commander's Plate to the Halvar, and they're about to deal their first bit of commander damage to us, I dare say. And then throwing the Skeleton Key on that as well. So we could block their commander here, we could get rid of Commander's Plate, weaken this and block it with a Shire, and then that forces them to recast this next turn. The problem is it'll be online again. I think I'd rather just go for the Blighted Woodland in all honesty, as much as I don't like taking a big chunk of commander. So we'll save the Otawara still. They are going to loot here. Still at 1 card in hand, but they are going to loot with the Skeleton Key. And deciding to discard Slash the Ranks, so not wanting to destroy all the creatures. So now we'll crack the Blighted Woodland for some blue mana. And hopefully this is where things start to turn around for us. Triggering landfall, of course. And we draw ourselves into a Harrow, which we could do now. Is it worth doing that now? I think I'll save the mana on that. Mystical Tutor could be worth going after something as well. Yeah, let's leave it for now. Alright, there's a Gaia's Cradle. Couldn't have asked for a much better land than that. Let's slam down the Gaia's Cradle. And that lands us into Escape Shift, so yeah, doesn't really get much better for us than that. We'll go Gaia's Cradle, or do we just go Escape Shift before we tap down Gaia's Cradle? Yeah, let's tap down some mana, because we'll definitely go Field of the Dead. We'll go Consecrated Sphinx, which will definitely help refill our hand. Then we can cast ourselves this Escape Shift, going to sacrifice every land apart from the Gaia's Cradle. And this will allow us to search for any land in our deck up to 9, because we sacrificed 9 lands apparently, so definitely want Field. We'll take the Yavimaya to make everything a forest. Reliquary Tower will need the infinite hand size, although we've got it on the rock already. Everything does come into play tap there, but as you can see, we get a hell of a lot of triggers, so going to get a hell of a lot of field triggers here. 9 Tatyova triggers, 9 Tireless Provisioners, so 9 treasures, and 9 zombies. And it helps to have a different coloured creature when our opponent is giving protection from colours to get through to us. The zombies will be black from Field of the Dead. And then with the treasures made and Tatyova on the stack, I want to go for the Mystical Tutor before we shuffle again. We can draw on one of the Tatyova triggers. Not entirely sure what I want to grab here actually. Finale of Devastation is probably a good idea, isn't it, so that we can overrun. But maybe Cyclonic Rift is just a better idea. Yeah, Cyclonic Rift's probably safer. I'm not sure what they can have next turn, but probably safer to have that, because our zombies are going to have Summoning Sickness. We can't overrun them this turn. Yeah, and our opponent sees that we just tutored for the Cyclonic Rift, so they know what's coming. We draw a bunch of cards here, including the Rift. So those are the cards that we would have drawn into, even if they'd had something. We have the Mana Drain in hand now. Prophet of Kruphix, I know someone will ask, it is not unbanned in Commander. 1v1 Commander on Magic Online has its own separate ban list. This is the official client from Wizards of the Coast, and it has its own separate Commander 1v1 ban list for whatever reason. Anyway, if you're enjoying the revisit to 1v1 Commander, then be sure to share it with your friends. I'm keeping a close eye on the statistics before I bin all the efforts of doing 1v1 content once again. So if you want to see more from it, then you need to be sure to support it. I'm Tribalkai. Thank you for watching.